And we're live.
We are live. A warm welcome to you all. This is our weekly Carnivore Conversations. I'm JJ. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat almost only meat.
Almost only
Almost only. My diet is beef, bacon, butter, eggs, and coffee.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, right? We're gonna
save
that.
I've been it's been an interesting process.
It really has. It really has.
For the whole household.
Oh my gosh. I wanted to kick off by asking if you are watching live or in the replay, we would love to see where you are from in the world. We've had a lot of people from the Pacific Northwest. We've had some Australia. I feel like we've had another country representing.
The UK?
The UK?
I'm sure.
Yes. So we would love to hear from you and let us know if you're live, if you can hear us.
Yes.
The audio is completely different when we're live.
That's right. And I have adjusted it, and it should be blaringly loud, but not distorted.
That is the hope.
Yeah. So, yeah, let us know.
Well, I wanted to kick off today.
Okay, I'm ready.
Because Kerry from Homestead How did a video. Now, you watched it first.
Yep.
And you came home and told me about it. And then I watched it about a day later. And holy cow, it was really a powerful video. Yeah.
What was it called?
What was it called?
Something about harsh truth. I think harsh truth was in the title.
I have hair in my face.
And it was one of these ones in the car, and he was kind of going on a rant. And the timing of it was pretty good for me.
Yeah?
Because I've been tracking, and so I was getting ready to clean things up. And his whole thing was people tell him that, oh, I don't know how I could ever do the carnivore diet. I couldn't eat like you because of all these other things that I want to enjoy. And his point was?
His point was, you are choosing your donuts, your bread, your bad diet over your loved ones. And sort of implying that you wanting to spend a quality life with your family and your friends and your loved ones should be the priority.
Yeah, that's what his point was.
Yeah. And it just, like, it's almost starting to tear up now. Like, you told me about it, so I knew what was coming, and it still brought up a lot of emotion for me. My father died when he was 43 years old of a heart attack, and he made a lot of lifestyle choices that ahead of us, ahead of his family, his loved ones, and it left kind of a devastation in the whole family after he passed away. Yep. Yeah, and I never met him. You never did get to meet him. No, he was gone. He was gone before you came. He's
legendary.
He is
in the family lore, but I don't know.
He was a very jolly, happy guy. Yeah. Lots of fun, and he made food choices, drink choices that took him out of the game. Yeah. Yeah, so it really hit home for me around him, and also just really grateful for that we found this way of eating so that we can continue to thrive and be vibrant and healthy for each other and for our families. And, you know, makes me think about those little things that I eat that are off carnivore too. I'm not doing any massive eating changes right now. I know you are. We're going to talk about that later, but it did make me think, okay, am I choosing something over my family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, at first when he was talking about it, I was like, I understand, but Kerry, people are addicted to these foods. So it isn't quite that simple.
No.
And many of us have to hit some sort of health crisis that's significant enough to shake us out of it and wake us up, and we can maybe take a step back and go, wait a minute, what am I doing? Why am I surrendering my health to something so temporary, such a small temporary pleasure? I don't you know, it's only while I'm eating it that I enjoy it. And then I suffer the consequence afterwards. And the answer is because that little sneaky, impish craving kind of takes over. But yeah, I think Kerry has such an incredible story about his health transformation. It's so easy for him to say, I don't want to go back to any of that. Why would I? So his why and the leverage that he has over his choices is much greater than other people.
Yeah. Now for me, I hit my rock bottom, I would say, near the end of my 30s. So it wasn't directly relating to carnivore, but it did cause a massive change for me where I gave up gluten and I started eating more paleo, type paleo for a couple of years, but more paleo. And I just remember that I had absolutely no energy at all. I was taking 2 naps a day and still falling asleep early in the evenings. And my mood was just low, where I had no motivation, and the phrase in my head was, why bother? Just why bother? And I wasn't suicidal. I didn't ever think about taking myself out of the game. But just this overriding why bother? I felt so bad. It was just, yeah. So again, that led to my first forays into the proper human diet and understanding how much nutrition affects our mood and our energy levels. And then it was sort of an odyssey. We've talked about it, where there was a lot of juicing and smoothies and all sorts of things throughout the decades till I landed on carnivore, which has been about 20 months ago now. Yeah.
Well, I was a nonstop crisis from the time I was 30.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah.
And I was always searching for a way out of my anxiety in particular and the depressive episodes that I would go through. And I tried stuff. I really did try hard with exercise and diet. It was just all the wrong decisions. It was all the wrong plans because I was doing the best I could and the best I could find out. But when it came to carnivore, it was a little bit of a bump to get over because it seemed so crazy to me. I was like, I can get on board with keto, but you've got to have some veggies, right?
Right.
And you've got to have some carbs, right?
Right, especially if you're a woman.
And your brain runs on carbohydrates, right?
Right.
So it was really a big trust fall actually into this diet.
That is a good way of putting it.
Because I had nothing else to do. There was no other supplement for me to try. And so I'm like, well, let's give it a try. And it worked. And then I started to change a little bit around the fringes of what I allowed into my diet.
Yeah.
And it didn't work quite as well.
Okay, we're getting a...
Okay, the audio on our end is turned up as loud as I dare turn it up without JJ blowing out the microphone when she laughs.
We're still working with this system, yes, yeah.
So should we talk about my update?
If you want to go into that, we can, yeah.
Our last video that came out on Wednesday was about my week long of tracking my food, doing the analysis of what I ate, and seeing the little errors I was making. And I told you what changes I made. Well, today is day 6 of having made those changes because I started before at the end of the tracking. And it was rough.
It really was rough. Now, I want you to take us back in time for a moment.
Okay.
When you switched to carnivore, more than a year ago now, you had an adaptation phase. So what was happening during that adaptation phase a year ago?
Well, I did strict beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, no condiments of any kind, no artificial sweeteners. It was strict, except there was coffee. And I did great.
But did you have adaptation issues?
I had some adaptation because it was just switching into keto, and I was used to that, and I was prepared for just eating more salt. And at the time, I remember when I started to get those keto flu symptoms, I would pop some just salt. I just eat it and drink some water, and it would help.
You did have some involuntary cleansing.
And I had a lot of involuntary cleansing. None of that has happened this time.
No, I just want to set this up though. Yeah.
But this time, I just felt like I was hit by a truck, and I could not understand why eliminating only some dairy and artificial sweeteners could have that big of an effect. But one of the days when I was tracking, I just tested my ketones, and the Keto Mojo read 0.2. Now, in my experience, 0.2 is the same as 0. It just is the lowest reading the thing will measure. So that told me I wasn't in ketosis, and I started to wonder, well, have I just not been in ketosis for a few weeks? And so am I going through a little like renewed keto flu?
Yeah.
But the other component was because I eliminated all of my elements because they have stevia in them, I was not getting that huge dose of electrolytes and salt every day. So it may have been a combination of the elimination of some things and too little of the electrolytes. So I have some of the unflavored element now, and it is a tough go to get any of it down the hatch. So I have, JJ lent me.
Oh no, you can keep it.
Really? Are
you can.
sure?
Yes, you can keep it.
JJ lent me this rock. Is this Redmond's?
Yeah.
This is a Redmond's piece of salt rock, and so every once in a while, I can give it a lick. But you can have it back.
No,
if you need it.
It's for you. I've got my own. I've got my own. But I was shocked because I expected more of a psychological adaptation because you would drink a lot of sweet things through the day.
Right.
So I wasn't expecting you to actually have this physical response to
the sweet cravings are on a scale of from 1 to 10, where 10 is max cravings. My sweet cravings are between a 3 and a 4. They're not hard to resist. And that surprised me. There was like the first day I felt a little deprivation because I had habits of grabbing a stevia sweetened soda or something. But that's kind of past. The hard part right now is that I'm trying to do a little bit of a priming phase of 3 meals till I'm comfortably stuffed, a lot of beef, and wow, is that beef hard to get down. I made one steak that I would give a C- to palatability.
Yeah.
But the fortunate thing was for that meal, I was so hungry, I just ate it and it wasn't a problem.
You did. You ate the whole thing, didn't you?
Yeah. And then today I had, for lunch, I just had 4 McDonald's naked patties because we were out and about, and I had to put a little mustard on that. But I got it down, and the thing that's irritating about it is that I feel pretty good when I eat beef. I overate beef a couple of nights ago. That was miserable.
Oof.
But anyway, all of that is to say I am staying on the new cleaned up Carnivore, and you said I look less puffy.
Yes, it was only a few days in I thought you did look less puffy, and I didn't know you looked puffy before.
I didn't either. I thought I looked pretty good.
Right, but suddenly you looked like, you look less puffy. And but yeah, really surprised at your energy dips though with this. Yeah.
I did have a very hard workout during that span, but nothing unusual for my normal. And then yesterday I donated blood in the morning. So I took the day easy, but I think that added a little to my fatigue. But today I'm feeling better.
Yes.
I didn't sleep that great last night, but I'm optimistic that I will not have to. Actually, the first night, the second night, I had butter waiting for me in the bathroom so that when I got up in the middle of the night, I could take a little bit of it. And I ended up having to have all of it because I was having palpitations. I think I was just low in salt. But anyway, that's the progress, and I'm sticking with it. The cleaned up Carnivore for the win, and I will keep updating. But this is going for at least 30 days before I introduce anything, and I expect it'll go longer because I want to give it a really fair shake. And just the whole discomfort of the adaptation tells me that there was something going on
Yeah.
with those things that was way more impactful than it should have been.
Yeah. Yeah. So the holidays this week, though, what are you going to do for that?
What holiday?
4th of July.
Is that really this week?
Well, next week, I
Next
should
week?
say. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
this coming week.
Do we have plans for the 4th of July?
No, we never have
Well, then
plans.
I'll treat it like a normal day and just eat meat all day
We
long.
usually have a fire and
S'mores.
yeah, we
No,
usually
I won't be having any
No,
s'mores.
I won't be having s'mores
No,
either.
that's just poison.
I might have a hot dog over the fire.
Yeah, a naked hot dog with some mustard on it is almost as bad as a naked
I like it.
burger patty. So
yeah, who do we have with us here?
We've got Hope is listening while driving to Costco from Mission, British Columbia, Canada.
Hello, Canada. We've not been to Costco in a while, and we really, it would be a good idea to go and check out, stock up a little bit.
Yeah.
Stock up. Instead, we like to play the go to the grocery store every single day game.
A Coca-Cola for you, which sounds very enabling bad behaviors. Hello, listening while I work. Have a great weekend, Yvette. Hi, Yvette.
Hello, you have a great weekend as well.
Yeah, but don't let anybody hear you or see you watching us.
Yes.
We don't want to get you in trouble. Marcy, the audio on some of your videos is a bit low, but right now it's good. There's another message here.
And hello from the Netherlands. Hello, Netherlands. Have you been to the Netherlands?
That would be what we would call Holland?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Neither have I. But you've been over in that region. I have not.
Marcy is eating a sandwich with that cottage cheese bread.
Oh!
Oh, no. I had to give it up, Marcy. The cottage cheese bread monkey was on my back, and I ate it constantly.
Yeah.
And it was a problem.
It was a problem.
What is Annette saying? Split a raw element of flavored so that I can get one full electrolyte in my 40-ounce jug, but then it's not 100% the flavored electrolyte.
That would not work for you right now, but I might try that.
Right, because I'm not having any of the artificial sweetener.
Yeah, you're not having
I'm trying to be super strict.
I'm not.
But that's a good idea to kind of reduce that artificial sweetener load. And Karen is saying, I don't have a problem eating meat, maybe not enough meat, so I dehydrate a lot of sirloin for meat chips.
Yes.
Now, this is a question I have. Do the meat chips make you think that you're eating a dog treat? Because the times I've had it, I went like, my dog would love this. But maybe if you salt it enough, I don't know.
We did have that.
Is it crunchy?
Yeah, I'm not sure about. We haven't done it with sirloin. Maybe we should have done it with that sirloin we bought.
That sirloin was already a meat chip when it started it. Yeah.
But we did it with pork loin after the meetup. We learned about it at that meetup.
Yeah.
And that tasted, the first couple tasted like potato chips. It was really good. And they were crispy.
Mm-hmm.
But by about the fourth one, which is fine, about the fourth one, I'm like, yeah, this is pork. But it was nice for a little crunch, or you can put it over something for a little texture.
She said crunchy with smoked salt.
Oh,
the Redmond smoked. That might be, pardon me, that might be pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I like Carnivore. That's a convenient name. Carnivore. Hi from Utah. Hello, Utah.
Oh.
I like Utah.
Yeah.
I do.
We've had some good experiences there.
Yeah.
Except for in Park City, when our daughter screamed and cried all the way up the sidewalk and then all the way down the other side when she was, what, 5?
No, she was much younger. That she was little.
Yeah, she wasn't having it.
And who knows, maybe she was having elevation issues or something. Yeah. We don't know. She could nonverbal, and yeah, that was not great.
Let's see. Marcy says, I do notice some beef is not as tasty as others, and it might be a quality issue or the type of cow.
Oof.
Well, I have definitely had some worse ones and some better ones. But I just want to state again, when I first started carnivore, I liked steak. Steak was a treat. I was happy to eat it, but something happened along the way. I'll figure it out, and I will get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to be like the guys who do their live stream cooks, and then they cut it on the big cutting board, and all the juice flows out, and they put some salt on top of it, and they fork it in, and then they go, so good. I just not hungry enough.
I hate to say this. I'm going to say it anyway. So you cooked last night. And usually for lunch, we cook our own lunches. I usually cook dinner when we eat dinner together. And you made me some patties, burger patties last night. And I was very grateful that you made them. They were not good.
I didn't promise you they would taste good.
No, they were not good.
I measured the temperature even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was actually the taste of the beef. I was like,
it was just the patty itself.
Yeah, it did not taste good.
We need to stop buying those particular
Okay.
ones. We just got to get back the ground beef, make our own patties, and season it.
Yeah, I was like, no wonder you hate beef. You're eating these things all the time, and that was
This is one of those problems that I got kind of as modeled from my father, is that if you're going to do something, make it as miserable as possible, or it doesn't count. So if you're changing your diet, if you're enjoying it, you're doing it wrong. If you're working out and you don't feel like you need to go to the ER afterwards, you're doing it wrong. If you choose an avocation in life, it doesn't make you miserable and everybody around you miserable, you're doing it wrong. And if you're having fun, you're doing it wrong. So I do kind of sometimes do these things to myself where I'm like, you're not supposed to like it. Oh my goodness.
Carnivore says she's in Park City. Yeah. Oh. I was just there in 2022 for one of my coaching conferences, and it was delightful. We did a little scavenger hunt. We were in conference most of the time, but we did a scavenger hunt, and there was this huge festival going on, like a wine festival or something like that, where the whole main street was decorated with tables. There were like tables up and down, and it was really cool looking. It was beautiful.
I wasn't there.
No, it was business.
Lisa Green says, I'm getting seriously tired of burgers, but I'm in my second week of
priming.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I've been watching a lot of the Steak and Butter Gang videos about priming to try to see if I want to actually continue what I've been doing the past 5.5 days for the full 2 weeks. And I will say that every meal, I end up pretty full. So maybe I will do some fasting at the end of this.
Maybe.
That might be good for me.
I do give you so much credit because you were such a picky eater growing up, I know, and had gotten beyond that. I mean, you were no longer picky by any means, but to have such a strong commitment that you keep eating something that you really hate, it speaks a lot. It's amazing.
Well, this goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. We were talking about Kerry's video on the harsh truth.
Yeah.
And when you're picking foods that are bad for you, you're picking a choice over your family.
Yeah.
And so I'm not doing that. I'm done with that phase. And I am confident that I will eventually find the preparation, the meat cuts, the appetite that will get over it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Is that Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa Green.
Okay, Lisa.
In Woodstock, New York. So Lindsay says, do you bring all your meat to room temperature before you cook it? That helps a lot. I actually did this with the steak I had.
Oh.
Well, it didn't quite get to room temperature, but I left it out for might have been an hour out of the refrigerator, a little with salt. And that really did make it juicy. Plus, I put the meter thermometer in it so I could watch the temperature really closely, because usually I just have one of those digital ones I stab at a random spot and barely read, because I am the worst, most impatient cook ever.
Yeah, he usually does not let his meat come up to room temperature. I usually do. And my little sort of hack for that is we have a bread proofing setting on our oven.
Oh, okay.
Bread proofing. Bread proofing, 100 degrees. So I will, if I'm running short on time, I will put our meat in there for a little bit too. That helps bring it up a little quicker.
I'm sort of take the frozen steak, put it in the air fryer, and then come back later until it looks like it's cooked. And it really doesn't serve me to be like that. But I have gone through phases where I've really tried to do a careful pan sear, and I'm like ladling butter over it to get the Maillard effect, the Maillard crust on it, and then I sit down to eat it. I'm like, this tastes just the same as the other one. So there's something wrong with my taste buds. So let's move on.
Let's move on. All right. So should we do this funky
sure.
one? All right.
That relates.
This funky one. All right. So for those of you who don't know, in my spare time, I help run a youth theater group.
Mm-hmm.
I do choreography for it. I used to own a dance studio. I've always been into musicals. Like, I think life should be a musical. Maybe that's what we need to do. Carnivore, the musical. What do you think?
I'm not coming up with an instant plot.
So anyway, I was always a drama musical kid. And so when Ricki Lake popped onto the scene with Hairspray back in the 80s, the musical, she was on Broadway and then brought it to the theaters with John Travolta. He was in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would know for sure.
So Ricki Lake did that. She's been sort of on my radar screen for decades at this point. And then I was at a coaching conference in LA, and my coach friend Kelsey, she took me to a Ricki Lake talk show taping.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually saw her talk show as well, which went on for ages. Well, she came up on my feed this week, and she has been doing keto.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about how we really like to see celebrities coming out of the keto or carnivore closet, although have speculated maybe some of them are carnivore, but they are using the keto term.
That could be.
Right, because you don't want to go that controversial. And so I don't know. I think she might be more meat-based than this lets on, but I saw this interview, so it just lit me up.
So it's a minute long or something.
It's like 30 seconds, yeah. So here comes my favorite part.
The two also starting intermittent fasting, cutting out bread and sugar as part of their keto diet, exercise including Pilates and sleep tracking, all of it paying off, with Lake shedding 35 pounds since October.
I've made this my job, and it's become my joy. Like, I love it. I think it's safe to say I'm in the best shape of my life. It's been a commitment, it's been a financial commitment, it's been a time commitment, but it's awesome. Like, I'm so happy. I'm proud of us.
I mean, you are glowing in
I
this
say,
moment.
this is what happy looks like. Like, this is really, I could cry. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
All right, you tell me. She's lost 35 pounds. She did say that she hired a chef, but she's lost 35 pounds in like 6 months, and she's glowing, and she's in the best shape of her life in her 50s, and she is so happy. How much meat is she eating?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you.
Yes.
Because you're so happy and you've lost all this weight.
Yeah, and
And you've got all of this energy.
Yeah. So I just felt a kindred with her.
So is she a secret carnivore?
I'm wondering. However, she has really struggled with her weight publicly all of her life. And I fortunately, I've lost nearly 30 pounds, but I was never extremely overweight. But yeah, so I'm thrilled for her. I'm thrilled she gave the interview where at least she admitted to keto. And yeah, I just want more and more of the word to get out in any way possible, because it's life-changing.
Yeah. Lisa says, I got a really good deal on grass-fed chopped meat, so I couldn't pass it up. But it's mainly ribeyes, chuck steak, and flat iron steak, poor man's filet mignon. For me, I just watch for sales.
Yes.
And you've been doing that. The sales runs at Walmart.
Yes, the local ones. No Costco though. I've been trying to do it at the local groceries. Yeah. Lisa has rheumatoid arthritis and hoping to reverse it. I hope you are able to reverse it as well, or at least get a ton of relief. I'm so fortunate. I have not had arthritis issues.
Yeah. I've had a little hand kind of issue. I don't know if it's arthritis or just too much playing Days Gone on the PlayStation. But it was terrible before Carnivore. Like, both hands hurt all the time. And then it kind of went away. So maybe it was a carnivore thing.
Maybe.
So back to the Ricki Lake thing.
Yeah.
So we know, is it Halle Berry?
Halle Berry?
She's keto?
Yes. Yes.
And
yeah.
sorry.
No, you go.
And Rob Lowe is Atkins because he's their spokesperson.
Yes. Well, now I'm getting all these different celebrity interviews on weight loss in my YouTube feed. And so I did have the Rob Lowe one where he made some granola, some keto granola with, what was it? Flaxseed. So I was like, hello, cyanide.
Oh, yeah.
Here, everyone in the audience gets a little dose of cyanide.
Oh.
No, it can convert to cyanide in the body. Apparently not at harmful levels, but I'd just rather skip the cyanide, I think. The cyanide granola.
That reminds me, who is it that I just saw on, it was an old interview that Bella did with the oxalates expert.
Yes, I don't remember her name either.
God,
but
if you know who I'm talking about, she's in her, I don't know, maybe late 50s. She looks fantastic. She used to be she was like studied to be a dietitian and ate all of the vegetarian stuff and was extremely sick.
Yeah.
And then she went carnivore and reversed it all. And so she talks a lot about oxalates. And I remember way back, probably 15 years ago, Sally Norton, thank you at Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Dave Asprey, if any of you know who he is, he was talking about oxalates in spinach and kale. He was like telling people, don't be eating all that spinach and kale. And if you're going to eat the kale, you need to blanch it first because that'll get rid of some of the oxalates. And I remember going, nah.
And you doubled down on your green smoothie and your salad.
And boy, did I have a lot of green smoothies. So who knows? I may also be having a phase of releasing some of the oxalates in my system.
Well, and that was interesting in that interview is Sally Norton said it can happen like after you're on carnivore for years. You can have a little release from some
Has anybody
tissue.
had any experience with that idea of oxalate dumping? Have you experienced the symptoms of it? Because I kind of think maybe that could be a factor.
It could be. I don't know.
It was a fantastic interview.
Yeah. Makes me think.
My problem is I don't believe anything. I don't believe anyone ever. And so I have to work myself up to going, okay, I'm going to try this and see for myself. And then I do an experiment, and then I still don't really believe it.
That is true.
I just know what's wrong with me. It was definitely Sally Norton, yeah.
Yep.
Do you know who Dr. Blake is? Because that's not ringing a bell
No.
for me. But the one point I took away from it was, if you think you're having symptoms of that, was to drink a little tea to introduce oxalates back in your diet to keep your body from releasing so many.
Yes.
It seemed counterintuitive to me, but
a low level.
Yeah,
it's the tea is a fairly low level oxalate. Yeah. Now, I was watching another interview. I was driving a lot this week, listening to lots of podcasts.
I hope you weren't watching them.
No, I was not. They were podcasts, and although I don't know, this one might not have been. I wasn't watching, I swear. It was Dr. Boz with Casey Means. And I always, and I always like a Casey Means interview, although you have a bone to pick.
Yeah, she doesn't go full out for keto carnivore enough.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But she was talking about her mother's, I believe it was pancreatic cancer diagnosis, and she was in the final stages. She was seemed healthy, and then bam, was dead in a couple weeks, something like that. It was really fast. And Dr. Boz, I don't know the story with her mom, but she apparently had a situation with her mother's health too, and I believe her mom died. But Dr. Boz said this phrase, and I have to read it. And she was talking to Dr. Means and said, was talking about the 70s, the decade of the 70s, where our mothers met the fate of their health. The 70s.
Not the 1970s.
Nope. The age of the 70s is where our moms met the fate of their health. And it was like this, well, and this was on the heels of the Kerry video.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm already thinking about these choices that we're making that are affecting our family, and where are we prioritizing our little cupcake versus our family. And here she is saying the 70s is where we meet the fate of our health, or where the mothers did. And it just was like, oh, wow. Because I know for me, you know, I've seen my mom declining as she just entered 70s a year and a half ago. And it was just interesting. And I know your mom got her diagnosis in her late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But prior to that, she had breast cancer and
That's true. Yeah.
some other issues. So her 70s were her last good decade was the first half of the 70s.
Yeah.
And then it was a pretty bad decline.
Yeah. And it's such a bummer. The oldest grandchild got a lot of time with your mom.
Yeah.
And that is not our daughter. Our
No.
daughter, unfortunately, did not have a lot of time with her at all. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get me into a Barbara Walters moment.
No, that was not my intention. But I mean, you can be sailing along really well, and then all of a sudden, yeah, those choices you made can really catch up with you. And hopefully you're in your 70s and not 43 like my father, where it was just crazy.
Don't you understand? Like, my whole life has been around not feeling those things.
Well, it was so funny because, I don't know, this was within a 48-hour period. I'm like tearing up with Kerry's stuff, right? And then I came home and I am fired up. I'm like, listen to this. Remember? I was like, I'm like, no, I'm in a really good mood, but holy cow, I just listened to all these interviews and
Yeah, your mind was really wound up. And I was like, I just ate the worst steak that's ever been eaten by anyone ever.
No, honestly, this is really amazing to me because I'm a fairly go with the flow type of person. Like, yeah, it's all good, whatever. And this carnivore diet space has me so passionate and so fired up. And I don't think I've ever been like this before.
No.
Yeah. Where I'm like, I want to spread the message, and I just feel so badly that we've been fed such harmful things all our lives. Yeah.
Well, we have an individual who is working on our house remodel.
Yes.
And he mentioned he had some kidney issues and was going to be seeing a specialist. And for the first time ever, I said, you know what you need to do? And he's like, no, what? And I said, you need to go carnivore on your lunch break. Go to YouTube, find Dr. Barry Kidney, and watch all of his content just to get started. And that will open up a whole realm of YouTube videos for you. And you can give it some serious thought. I have never done that with anyone ever. I think if he'd been family, I wouldn't have done it. But since he kind of indirectly worked for me, I was emboldened. But part of me was like, what would Annette do? She would just tell him straight up, don't eat any of these things.
And I was wearing my Healing Humanity shirt that day.
Oh, were you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just funny.
But he mentioned the next day, he said that he was really thinking about it. He had talked to his wife about it. And she said he was crazy.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. And he works in a family business. It could really change the trajectory of a lot of different people.
Yeah. We'll see.
But we'll see. Yeah. I was thrilled you brought it up, and he seemed open.
Yeah. He wasn't offended even.
No.
Because he's got some discomfort and he wants to get rid of it.
Well, like we were talking about before, hitting that sort of low in your health, and Ooh, we have England in the house. Is that true?
Yeah, Marie. Hi from England. A bit late joining, but looking forward to sharing some time with you guys. I've made myself a decaf tea.
Lovely.
Thank you so much, Marie.
Happy to have you. Yeah. Hey, Diane Darling is in the house.
Yeah,
Diane?
getting some words of glitching. We're getting no notifications on our end that there's a data problem, so it might be on your end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely check out the replay if things start to fall apart.
And she thinks that 70s decade is again, not the 1970s.
Yeah.
When we hit our 70s is when a lot of things start to catch up with us. A lot of those choices.
My grandma didn't make it to 70,
No.
so I didn't get to observe that.
My grandmother made some really poor lifestyle choices, and she did make it pretty healthy until her 80s.
Yeah, she had some resilient DNA to stand up to the amount of cigarettes that she consumed.
Yeah, and my grandpa too, he died when he was 81. So so they did luck out a little bit there, I think. But they also sort of ate, I'm not perfect, but they sort of ate meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And my grandpa loved liver. So they were still, I don't think they were in the highly processed food arena. And they were mostly eating, meat and potatoes that she made.
Yeah.
Except the Hungry Jack. Those were processed.
Yeah. Those were so good.
But those were for Sunday.
I don't even want them. I don't even want them. Our daughter came into the kitchen while we were watching TV the other night and made, what is it called, a mug?
Yeah, like a little chocolate mug cake.
Yeah, in a mug. And the smell of chocolate, hot cooking chocolate baking filled the house. And normally that would have driven me just mad with like ravenous desire to eat it. But it actually was kind of repulsive to me because I have shut my mind off to that kind of garbage. I didn't know that chocolate was filled with oxalates.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I thought dark chocolate was a superfood that was really good for me.
But what we did find out, holy cow, this was a little while ago. We would get the Lily's stevia sweetened chocolate bar, right? And we would have just one row every few days, just one row of chocolate. It's got like 7 grams of carbs in that one row.
How can it have that many carbs if it's sweetened with stevia?
I don't remember, but it was like I did the math and I redid the math. And actually the math was a little funky too. Like it told you this many ounces was a serving, but then the other part said a different. So anyway, it was like, but 7, we were like not doing this I mean, this little bar, little tiny piece of chocolate bar was not worth the carbs even, much less the oxalates.
All right. So we have gotten a number of comments, and it's kind of interesting because we just did a video about no weight loss on carnivore and kind of how to troubleshoot it. Now, we're not super experts, but we've got some basic ideas of things that need to be done because they're obvious. And one is tracking what you eat, which I just did, and we made a video about. It came out on last Wednesday, and it's why I've changed my diet. But we frequently get comments about, I've done carnivore for a certain amount of time and I've lost no weight. But what we don't see is, did you do any of the things we just talked about? Did you track your food, every single meal, every single thing you drank for a week? Because even though you think you know what you're eating, until you write it down and see it there in black and white, you can't really confront the truth of what you're eating.
Yeah.
And so that occasional little extra cheese or maybe those occasional grapes aren't as occasional, and maybe they're just way too much.
And maybe that little tiny 4 squares of stevia chocolate is 7 grams of carbs.
Yeah. So we're not weight loss experts, but
No.
we have some insights into it. And it's just a little surprising to see that because there are specific steps, and they are a little bit of work because you have to do some analysis and you have to do some tracking. But we know that in the long term, carnivore doesn't require you to track your macros.
No. I've been tracking for about a month now, nearly a month, but loosely, because I started following, I've said this before, I started following some of Maria Emmerich's work and got her suggested macros for me to maintain my weight. And I just wanted to see. And what I learned is that most days, if I don't add butter to things, I'm hitting those macros, no problem. A little under on fat, so I can add a little bit of butter now. So even just that, I'm not tracking every day, but learning, oh, I am in the realm. I am in the realm most days, and this is good. Yeah.
But the main point is, if you're doing it for months and then you're not seeing results, there's tons of videos out there that will walk you through steps of things to do, or you can reach out to, I know many of these communities have support groups, or there's coaches available. It does require going that next step and actually taking action. At some point, you can't throw your arms up and just say, it doesn't work.
Yeah. And for me, I know I've said too that I took 7 months for me to start losing weight, but I was patient, and I understand some might not be. And that's when you do want to take some sort of action somewhere, cut out the dairy, start tracking, whatever it is.
It's an elimination diet.
Yeah.
And I suppose some people need to eliminate more than others. I mean, if you look at Michaela Peterson,
well, yeah,
there's certain beef she can't even eat if it's aged. I'm so glad I don't have to go to that level.
Yeah, me too.
So
yeah,
if you've enjoyed this, please give us a like, the old thumbs up. If you're watching this on replay, please leave a comment about your experience, like if you've hit that wall, that low point that forced you to go carnivore, and it's key, and that has given you your why and your energy behind it. We want to hear those stories. If you've had experience with the oxalate thing, I want to hear those stories. What else did we talk about today?
To choose Kerry's Harsh Truth video.
Yeah,
have
the
you
Harsh
watched?
Truth.
Yeah.
Have you watched that? And did you have a reaction to that? We really appreciate all of you that watch our videos, join us here live at various random times on a Friday. I know that this particular week, it's a very low, slow news week. So there's no reason why you would have anything else that you'd want to be watching or be interested in, because there's really nothing going on of any drama of any kind in the United States. So thank you for being here with us. We are good counter-programming to the madness in the world, because overall we want to have fun, and we really enjoy spending this time with you.
Yes, we do.
But we're going to sign off because we have to do other things. We've got a guest coming.
We do. Our daughter has a guest coming this weekend.
We have to make sure we're ready for it.
Yep.
So goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks again.